Welcome back. In the first part, you built the formulas of earned value management and forecasted a project's final cost from planned value, earned value, and actual cost. Now you will connect those numbers to what you actually see on a project dashboard, the S-curve. You will learn to recognize 5 distinct patterns of schedule and cost health just by glancing at how 3 lines, planned, earned, and actual, relate to each other. You will also learn how contingency and management reserves protect a budget, and how funding limit reconciliation keeps a project spending aligned with the cash an organization actually makes available over time. Every diagnosis begins the same way. Pull the current cost variance and schedule variance for the project, straight from the 2 formulas you already know. Ask yourself a single question: are both of those variances negative at the same time? That one check sorts every project into one of 2 broad families. If both are negative, you are looking at the worst-case pattern. The project has spent more than the work is worth, and it has also fallen behind the pace the schedule required. If they are not both negative, check which one is positive. Ahead of schedule but over budget means you are paying extra to move fast. Under budget but behind schedule means you are saving money while slipping the timeline. There are 5 such combinations in total, including the rare best case where a project runs both ahead of schedule and under budget at once, and you will see 3 of them plotted next. This first chart shows the pattern every project manager hopes for. 3 lines, planned value, earned value, and actual cost, sit directly on top of each other for the entire life of the project. At the 6-month mark, marked here as today, there is no gap between the lines at all. Cost variance is 0, schedule variance is 0, and both performance indexes sit exactly at 1. The project is earning exactly $1 of value for every dollar spent and finishing exactly the work it promised to finish by this point in time. In practice, perfect alignment like this is rare and often temporary. But it is the benchmark against which every other pattern you are about to see is measured, and it is the pattern you are always steering back toward. This second chart is the pattern that keeps project managers up at night. Look at today's marker on the timeline. Actual cost sits highest, above earned value, and earned value sits below planned value. That gap between actual cost and earned value is a negative cost variance. You have spent more than the work is worth. The gap between earned value and planned value is a negative schedule variance. You have finished less than the schedule called for. Both problems are happening at the same time, which is why this is called the worst case. When you see a chart shaped like this, it is a signal to investigate root causes immediately, whether that is scope creep, resource shortages, or underestimated work, before the gaps widen any further. Now compare that worst-case chart to this one. At the same 6-month marker, earned value sits above planned value, and actual cost sits below earned value. The gap between earned value and planned value is a positive schedule variance. The team has finished more work than the schedule expected by this point. The gap between earned value and actual cost is a positive cost variance. That work is costing less than its earned value, so every dollar spent is returning more than $1 in progress. This is the pattern every sponsor wants to see on a status report. It usually reflects strong estimating, an efficient team, or some combination of both, and it gives you room to absorb minor surprises later without breaking the budget. 2 more concepts protect a budget from the unexpected: reserves for risk, and a check against how fast cash actually arrives. Contingency reserve covers known unknowns, risks you already identified during planning. It sits inside the approved baseline, and the project manager can spend it without seeking extra approval because it was already accounted for. Management reserve covers unknown unknowns, the genuine surprises nobody planned for. It sits on top of the baseline, and tapping into it always requires a formal change request and approval through governance. Funding limit reconciliation checks whether your planned spending in any given period exceeds the cash your organization actually releases. If it does, the fix is not more money, it is rescheduling work so spending matches the funding calendar. You have now completed the full picture of earned value management, the formulas that quantify performance, a worked example that turned percentages into dollars, and visual patterns that let you diagnose a project's health at a glance. You also saw how contingency reserve and management reserve stand ready for different kinds of risk, and how funding limit reconciliation keeps ambitious spending plans honest against the cash an organization actually has on hand. Together, these tools answer the question every sponsor eventually asks: did we get what we paid for? And if not, what happens next? Carry that question with you into every project you manage. That's it for this lesson. See you in the next lesson.